So over here, for the parameter name SC, I can say that this specific parameter is an object reference to a scanner, to a scanner, and we know that this is javadoc scanner. So most people prefer then when you use elements of code or names of classes in your javadocs. Now notice that I already have a brief description for my method right at the top of this javadoc. Then I have my param name SC, and then it just follows a free form description of this thing. So when I have elements of code, I can use HTML tags, and one of them would be code or true type of comment, and so I could embed the code text over here. So when I compile this, right, when I run javadoc utility again, so I save everything, I go back to my package, I right click, and I say I would like to regenerate my javadoc, right? So it gets regenerated. So this documentation effort I was making inside my validator class. So when it gets reopened, in the browser here, and I jump to my validator class, and then I basically browse through the set of methods which are available. Let me see which one I was trying to document here. Static string get string, which takes two parameters. Get string here. You can see that my brief documentation now appears right here, right? So now it becomes part of the documentation. It does include the method signature, and it tells me what I return. So now if I click on the link to this method documentation, now you can see that I have a method to display a prompt and get a text input from the user, and then that actually is using true type font as well. So let me see if I have anything here. Object reference to code. Let me try moving this. I don't know, just seems like this specific javadoc just generated code for like a true type font for the entire line here. So I don't know, I'll just stick with whatever happens here. So the prompt parameter is the string with text to display, right? And my return parameter would be the text entered by the user. So from here on, you can see that I really don't have to remember every single javadoc, because I have this nice little tool, or syntax for every tag, because I have this tool that basically says analyze javadoc, and if it finds a problem with anything, right, you can refresh. If it finds a problem that doesn't appear to be consistent with javadoc syntax of any kind, it'll tell you, and you can make fixes, right? It's also possible to have an empty lines here, right, just to separate this documentation. And in a typical commercial application, you would find javadocs preceding every single method and every single class, which essentially follows the rule that the code has to provide the documentation for everything that happens in those methods, right? So we use the documentation. So very simple, very simple documenting tool, but the results are pretty effective. You get not just documentation for individual Java files, but you pretty much get documentation for the entire package and its uses, and it will also generate a set of anything that's deprecated, right? If for some reason you were using Java classes that now considered to be deprecated, it will be showing you those classes in this specific area. So anyway, so these are the highlights of this very quick facility, the javadoc. And of course, if you look in your project under distribution, actually it's not under week 7. Now we switch to I think it was, where was this located? This is under package, just 57 package, 257 something, this name package right there. Under distribution, there's javadoc, and this is a typical setup for your website, right? So you can basically see that this is a set of HTML files which were generated here, and you get your javadoc, which gets regenerated every time you want to, and you can maintain very nicely a set of documentation for your code. So we mentioned a few of these, and you already saw that it supports an author, it supports the version, it supports param to describe parameters, and it supports the return tags, and these tags result in producing a documentation as we just saw. For instance, right now, if I regenerate the javadoc with my latest changes, and I switch to the validator, right? If I switch to the validator and jump to my method here, getString, you can see that it's basically it is being documented, right? SC, prompt, and the return value is all documented, and I can provide more information if I need to. And so typically you make some effort to document every single method, and it does take some time, but this is a responsibility of a programmer to document the code, because this is just something that is very important. I would say that javadoc is also very helpful, because in a very similar manner, a javadoc format can be used to document other C-like languages. For example, there's a tool named Doxygen, right? Doxygen is an open source tool. I would very highly recommend using Doxygen to document your files, and it is also capable of generating documentation, and I always use this to document my C and C++ code, because it just understands the syntax, and it can be tunable to different types of syntaxes. And I usually say I want to use javadoc syntax because I'm already familiar with javadoc, so I don't want to learn other things. But Doxygen here does support the Doxygen supports more tags, right? So it would give you the documentation for the documenting the code, those special comment blocks, right? So it'll give you a long list of different types of possibilities, and it's using more tags. So it's, in a way, Doxygen is more advanced, but it's also a very, very effective tool. And so typically to document something, I would use Doxygen, but if it's a Java file, you'd probably want to use javadoc, right? By the way, Doxygen also understands javadoc syntax, and you can produce produce a nice output. It also will be able to give you like graphs and diagrams out of your code, which basically will reverse engineer what you have and will generate for example, diagrams of hierarchy of your classes, or even some UML diagrams of things that are being used in your code. So Doxygen, I highly recommend it. Just keep it in mind that one day, if you need a solid documentation platform for a very broad spectrum of languages, Doxygen is very, very much can be your choice, because it's very standard and very effective. Okay, so these are the javadocs, and another example of javadoc is right here. For instance, if we do use a product class, so right here, here's our documentation. So you can see that the code is being used here to document the name of the class, and pretty much the initial responsibility of a product is stated here. As it says, the product class represents a product and is used by the line item and other classes. So this is just a free-form description outside of any tag, just simply in the documentation section. Then here's the author, here's the version, and as long as this comment precedes the class definition in our file, the javadoc will understand that this specific comment belongs or is attached to this class. So this is a section of documentation for this class. That's very convenient. That's very standard. Then as we go and go into the class, then you'll find that there is documentation for every method, and typically it's just a set of parameters, the initial line stating what this does, then a set of methods, and you would want to document what parameters the people supposed to pass to this method when the method is invoked, and it's pretty simple. In addition to this, which is not demonstrated by that specific example, but if I have my main app, let me see, if I have, if here I have my customized validator class. So I ask NetBeans to generate javadocs for me. You can see that individual data members inside the class can also have documentation. So for example, this specific area here could be documented as to say a string to hold implementation data, right? And I could possibly switch this to private. Perhaps this would be better choice for some of these. Private, right? So another string to hold implementation data, right? And this way, besides methods and classes, you can also document individual data pieces. So let me see if I can actually build this. Okay, and then I will regenerate my javadoc, right? So for the customized validator, once again, it opens the browser for me. For the customized validator here, when I look at the content here, you can see that there's a method summary, there is a constructor summary, and there's fields inherited, and just trying to locate where's the documentation for. Did I rebuild? Wait a minute. Yes, I did rebuild it. So I'm just trying to locate in this file. I don't know if those were made private, that it by default didn't document. Let me just switch back to public just to see if it did make a difference. that I switch from public to private. Let me just do this one more time. Generate javadoc. All right, so here I am, customized validator. Let's see, fields. Yes, it just appears that once the fields are made private, by default they're not being documented. But if you do make them public, the documentation will appear as the standard documentation. All right. So anyway, so those are the available features in the javadoc. Any questions about javadoc?